peasants, go dig your graves. They fill your mouth with all the money you will save. Thinking it, getting smart, get undone. It has begun, I'm not the only one.
Hey!
Well, so, ourselves against the wall. But no one else can. I can't do 5 minutes of that.
You can't? I could totally do 5 minutes of that.
Well, yeah, but see, I've got this not terribly skillfully engineered setup here that's not ideal for me hearing the music and you guys headbanging to it at the same time. But as I said, Amazon doesn't have what I need right now, so we're just making do.
Let me get out my second laptop so I can see all of our tremendous people out in the audience who are going to be dropping in to say hello.
I'm going to go back to the music. I got nothing to say for a couple minutes. Of the modern me. Cool, there are quacks. I know what we like, but where the devil fell, the secrets have gone mad. This is nothing new, but when we kill it all, the end was all we had. Who needs another mess? We could start over. Just look me in the eyes and say I'm wrong. Now there's only emptiness, but I'm missing something. I think we're done. I'm not the only one.
As I murder my keyboard, I just got that live link dropped, shared on my LinkedIn profile. So hopefully we get some people filtering through with that and get more beautiful people in here today because we have a tremendous bow tie up ready for all of you lovelies.
We're getting a little better at these opens too. Or at least I think.
Yeah. No, look good.
You know.
Just get it off my network here.
Well, I say we just decide however it goes, it's fine. It's live, right? It's not supposed to be perfect, right?
I think if it was perfect, people would be suspicious.
Absolutely.
Like, was this pre-recorded?
Especially if it's something that I'm involved in.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not a big fan of perfection because it means you spent too much time on it.
That's just true.
Okay. But in tech, we like to shoot for perfection because you should spend too much time on it.
Potato, give me Lopato.
Pretty
There's
much.
always a catch, right?
There's always a catch. We just hope it's not a 22.
True.
Wow.
Oops,
All
that's
right.
what I meant to
So
do.
we're about ready to get this thing rolling here. I mean, we got people filtering in.
We were born ready.
We are?
Oh, yeah. We've already got 3 wonderful people in the audience. I'm probably one of them, but...
Yeah, I think I'm one of the other ones, too. Well,
oh, no, and if Christopher, you're the last one, then we're in trouble.
Yeah. Oh, I feel like I'm having a Celine Dion moment here. I'm not going to sing it. All right, people. I'm Lee Rowley of Lee Rowley Copy Branding and Copy Brand You. And this other guy over here to my right.
And I am Alex McDowell, owner of A3 Innovation and founder, and also partner at Real Impact Solution. And you are in for an episode number 16 of Bow Tie Up Live. And
16.
today, 16, yes. Wow, as I get my points totally wrong, this is you, Lee. All right, let's establish this. This is Lee. This is the audience. I turn left, I got the audience. I turn right, I got the Lee. But I got to keep my points down. And then I got down, kind of down for Christopher. And speaking of Christopher, let's introduce our terrific guest for today as we come off of the live dance party as the one and only Mr. Christopher Nesbit. Christopher, welcome to Bow Tie Up Live, my friend. And please tell the audience about yourself. You got the clock.
All right. Sounds good. Well, I'm Christopher Nesbit, president, I guess you'd say, of Nesbit Marketing. And we really focus on industrial marketing, which is marketing for manufacturers and other industrial companies, top-down review of outdated marketing practices and strategies. And then we go in and update and modernize and make sure that it's moving towards a beneficial place for both the company and the customer.
So I take it working in the industrial sector that you see a lot of outdated practices, huh?
It's they woke up a few years ago and realized that it's time to make some changes. So we're helping them do that.
Well, at least they didn't wake up a month ago and realize it was time to make some changes, as a lot of people did.
Yeah, some of them still are. That's okay.
Yep, that's for sure. All right, and as we have people filtering in here with us, remember, guys, drop a hello in the comments, which is over here. Yes, it's over here. Drop a hello in the comments over here, and we will shout you guys out live. We love to see it and love for you to hang out with us. And if you have questions as things go along, just do what this sticker says and ask them in the comments. We will answer them live.
That's right.
Yes, yes, yes. So I would love to introduce our main topic, but first, Mr. Lee Rowley, who, gosh, I got my points messed up again, who's over here. Yes, this is Lee Rowley. Lee has an opening shtick that he would love to share with you all.
Well, look, this is episode 16, right? I mean, we've got a few episodes under our belt. We've got the audience coming back. Why, I don't know, but you guys keep coming back, so whatever. So I'm thinking that now that we're kind of getting this refined and bringing some things into the show, we need to add a cultural aspect, okay? I think that we need to bring the education to the edutainment field, okay? We need to make sure that we're over-delivering on that. And so at great expense and lots of frustration, I have found a part-time amateur historian who is going to provide a little bit of that education today in a new segment that we're going to have on the show every once in a while. Cool. You guys excited?
Yeah.
I am thrilled.
Okay, very good. Then I would like to go ahead and bring him on here, okay, for a new segment. Are you ready?
Ready.
Good evening. I am Sir Winston Craiglebone, and this is History's Greatest Pigeons, Volume 1. Today, I would like to honor William of Orange, the pigeon. Where is he?
Where's our pigeon? There he is.
Ah, yes, there you are. Very good. Part of the British military service in MI-14, William of Orange, the pigeon, was a war pigeon whose messages saved over 2,000 lives in World War II. During the Battle of Arnhem in September 1944, Allied units had a communication crisis as German troops surrounded airborne forces and radio sets malfunctioned. British soldiers released William as a last resort. He flew over 400 kilometers back to the United Kingdom and carried one of the few messages that made its way back to headquarters, alleviating the Allies' communication crisis. After his war days, William was bought out of service by Sir William Smith of Cheshire and reportedly became the grandfather of many outstanding pigeons. So there you have it. William of Orange the pigeon, your valor and service shine through history. Join us next time when we shall honor another unsung hero on history's greatest pigeons.
Can we throw in a Black Ops pigeon? Or was that a real life example of the Black Ops pigeon?
There's some, the thing is, I'm not sure if I can talk about that or my family might get killed.
True. Because we're just all in quarantine, so the government can change the batteries.
Now that we got the opening shtick out of the way, what are we talking about today?
We are talking about saying hello. So thrilled, actually, for some comments dropping in through the audience. We got to stop the show and say hello, which is what you guys know is my absolute favorite part. So jumping in at number 1, we have Mr. Brad Norwood, previous guest of Bowtie Up, and joining the list of all of my favorite people, which are guests of Bowtie Up or people who watch us on Bowtie Up, or really just human beings in general. So thank you, Brad, for tuning in today, and hope you have a terrific day, as I practice my English accent. And coming in at number 2, we have Kevin McDowell, my favorite other McDowell that is not me or my family. How is it going, brother? Hope you are having a tremendous day today. Number 3, Mr. Matthew Perkins, saying, huzzah, gents, ready for another exciting and informative episode. Huzzah to you, good sir. Ready for another exciting and certainly informative episode. Let me know how my English accent is. I think it sucks. And then finally, we have Carol jumping in at number 4, saying, hi, Chris. Hi, Chris. How's it going, brother?
Good to see you.
And those are all the hellos for all of you out there who have not said hello in the comments yet. If you want me to say hello with an English accent, say hello. Alex used an English accent. If you do not, you can simply say hello. I will be happy to stop the show for you.
I'm thinking we can just do the whole bloody episode in an English accent. We can
Oh,
try.
no.
I did this with one day in Vegas. I jumped into a cab. Carla and I, we jumped into a cab, and you know, that's a lie. It was a lift, and I started. I started the conversation in English accent, and then I realized that it was really hard to keep it up for a long period of time when you don't know what you're talking about.
Cheerio.
Cheerio.
Cheerio. Bloody hell.
Cheerio. So I think that we might be able to do the whole thing in an English accent if we remember. Oh no, here's the thing about my accents. They change halfway through and it's just never good because I realize that it's happening and I can't stop myself. And it's really, really bad. So moving. I can't stop myself. Like, I don't know what it is, but just while I'm trying to think about what accent I want to do, it drifts. So I'll be doing an English accent and I'll be thinking about Australia and how Australia is different than an English accent. And then I'll be like, pip, pip, cheerio. Did you put another bulb in the bobby? Let's go get a kangaroo. And I'm like, oh boy, that just didn't work. Next, I'm going to start talking about the potato famine. Get my Irish accent out here. Let's not get on to Alex and his accents because they are absolutely terrible.
Accent.
So Christopher, we've talked about pigeons and we introduced a pigeon, which I think is a very archaic marketing practice. You know, if we're trying to use a pigeon to send out our messages, you could always do direct mail that way. Now, coming from the industrial manufacturing sector, what do you think some of the biggest things are going to change as a result of what's happening right now? So I know that you've seen for a couple of years, you know, what's going on in the industrial sector, but now what do you think is going to come out of the whole COVID era and how can you even push forward your marketing efforts as an industrial manufacturer during times like these?
Well, I think communication's key. You know, so making sure that we are maintaining some form of a human angle to the marketing that's going out from industrial manufacturers. I've got a great company that I've followed for a long time. They're not customers, but they're doing a very good job with their marketing. And one of the things that they're doing right now is they're showcasing some of their employees and showing off some of the amazing things that they're doing internally to make sure that the system continues to run. I'm also watching another company that's just showing their machines running because they're technically an essential company and they're doing a great job pushing that out and making sure that people know that they're open and moving. So it's very dependent on the company, but I do think a lot of it has to do with making sure that there's a human angle to it and making sure that that people realize that they're still open and moving and doing what they need to be doing right now.
Now, have you noticed any of your existing clients facing changes where they've had to halt production or reduce production as a result of the shelter-in-place orders or anything like that? Or have they mostly been impacted in maybe a positive way?
Well, there are definitely some pivots that are taking place, but most of the manufacturers that I'm aware of are still open for various different reasons. I'm in Michigan, so we have one of the strictest shutdown protocols right now. Shelter-in-place protocols, stay-home protocols, whatever you want to call them. But essentially, a lot of the manufacturers are shifting production either to manufacture the respirators or the medical masks or even hand sanitizer. So they're really trying to focus on maintaining something that's useful, even if their product wasn't necessarily classified as essential.
That's very cool. Now, when they are considering that pivot and if they should even switch over production, has that been a mandate or has that just been an opportunity that they've been able to take advantage of?
From what I understand it's not quite a mandate yet. Basically, a lot of these companies, the need for their product goes down, and so or they just have I guess the urge to want to help. So the particular company that I was referring to that had switched their production to doing respirators, they're actually an aerospace company.
Oh, wow.
Yep. So they switched over 2 lines in order to make those. And just to shout out, I mean, they're SMI Aerospace in Traverse City, my hometown. They're making me proud. So, and they're sourcing local hand sanitizer to keep their staff safe. So they're doing it the right way.
That's incredible. And it's awesome to see how communities really come together and how we can work on coming together in times like this. And I don't know if anybody else out there, especially in the audience, has noticed a lot of changes in commercials lately. Because we're finally starting to see people who are changing the way that they're approaching marketing and going at a much more community focused angle, saying, hey, we're all in this together. This is what we're doing to help, or simply just a thank you. Like I saw a Kellogg's commercial yesterday. That was just literally as simple as the president coming on and just saying, hey, thank you to all of those frontline workers who are out there supporting us. So it's very, very important during these times to stay together and to stay connected and to really support each other. So to all those out there who are in the industrial manufacturing sector, changing your production lines, we know even if it's 2 lines, it's still not easy and it's still not going to be the most profitable thing for your business. And so, thank you to all of you guys and the frontline workers who are out there supporting us so that people like us can be sitting in our house, staying safe and staying quarantined. So we really do appreciate it. Now we have a couple of people that we get to stop the show and say hello to, and I haven't seen any English accent requests,
Hecklers.
but that's okay.
Hecklers.
So coming in, I believe we're on number 5 right now. That would be Peter Hammer saying the Black Ops Pigeon. I concur. Black Ops Pigeons are terrifying topics that we will get shut down for almost certainly.
We'll see.
As I accidentally press the back button and just kind of fill some time here, talking about absolutely nothing to get back to it. Number 6, we have Mr. Rob Howes. Rob, thank you for joining us today. Much obliged, sir. Tagging Jacqueline Way, who we are going to be trying to have on the show tomorrow to talk about an absolutely incredible campaign she's doing for 1 million gives, doing some incredible things literally for the entire planet. So very excited about that. We have, what are we on, number 7 now? Number 8? Crap, I lost count. Number X, question mark, who knows? Lens Johnson saying, hey, Lens, former Bowtie Up guest. Therefore, one of my favorite human beings. How's it going? Hope you're having a tremendous day today. Lee, Kevin asked you to stop staring at him. So if you could do that, we would appreciate it.
I mean, seriously, I have a 21-pound cat sitting in my lap who's like making me kind of
tired.
I forget I'm in the show sometimes,
That's a good point. When you forget that you're live. At one point, Lee, we're gonna have a 24-hour Lee stream where we just watch Lee go about his day, not knowing he's on live, doing his Lee things.
Digital subnex is what that is.
Strap a GoPro to your cat and stream it to Twitch. And here's the view of Lee's cat on his lap.
You got to build the momentum, right? It only gets more and more as the longer you go. Right?
Exactly.
That's exactly right. All right, you guys, get off my...
Okay, fine. We'll go back to the actual regularly scheduled interruption. And we're talking about marketing today. And I know that we're focused on the industrial manufacturing sector, Christopher, but with COVID, I understand that you've had to pivot your business over to allow for some other companies to get in and work with you and experience the kind of difference that you can make that normally wouldn't quite be in your repertoire, so to speak. So let's walk through some of maybe even the pivots that you've had to make in the way that you approach working with these clients, or any of the changes that you've had in your business as a result of this.
Well, first and foremost, I actually got busier. It didn't slow down at all for me. It kind of stepped on the gas. Part of that was the pivot. So a lot of companies right now are facing a need to go after new strategic angles, mostly due to COVID, just because the production on a lot of things kind of will get chewed through during this process if new sales and leads aren't coming in to fill the pipeline. And a lot of companies are experiencing that. So it's kind of important to be able to respond to that particular problem. So, and I'm telling companies right now that now is the time to do as much as you possibly can in your marketing and your sales efforts. You may not close a lot right now, but you will definitely be earning top of mind, which is probably the most important thing in marketing, through this process if you're available and you're supporting and you're you're being helpful and keeping people informed.
Now, when you talk about keeping people informed and staying top of mind, there's been a lot of sometimes heated conversations about how you should be communicating with people, because it is an unprecedented time in the world right now. And so there's a lot of sensitivity. Some sectors like ours, I got busy here because of COVID too, because we just realized that, wait, people need help. People really need these things, and they realize, just how much and how critical it is for their business to be able to make money online, and being able to make money, when they're not having to have their sales reps pick up the phone and do so. Now, how have you experienced these messages changing, or how do you experience the messages changing? What kind of new ways are you seeing companies approach to really communicate what they want to say to those customers and stay top of mind?
Well, I could tell you the wrong ways to do it. So a lot of companies are actually trying to leverage the COVID name and problem as an opportunity to get in somebody's inbox, and I think that's totally wrong. Just look at your own inbox as an example. How many emails did you get from companies you've never heard of or haven't heard from in 10 years saying, we're just checking up on you and, all these things, or the problem with that is that if you didn't care about me for 10 years, why do you care about me now? And so,
yes.
Yeah. So
a lot of inauthenticity.
Absolutely. So, I'm actually advising a lot of my customers, if you're going to talk about COVID, you better have some kind of a solution to a problem that's caused by COVID, or you need to be offering something that's going to alleviate some of those problems. Right. And then on the other side of it, if you are just checking in on somebody, make sure that you're doing it in a truly empathetic way and not just a way to generate sales. You can be selling in certain sectors right now, but really I wouldn't go into it with that mentality. I would go into it with the how can we help kind of attitude. And if there's a low value proposition that you can offer for inexpensive or free, do that right now, and then you'll recoup your losses due to the fact that you will be top of mind, and people will have some reciprocity that they have built up with you through your offering if you truly are helping them.
Because you remember the kind things that people did. Now you also remember the chuckleheads who jumped in your inbox and were trying to talk about COVID as if it's just a byproduct. I love those sales messages, and I'm sure we're all getting them literally every day. And one recently started with, hope you and your family are doing great, and then launched into a sales pitch that was like 2-3 paragraphs long, and then ended with, stay safe during these times. Like, we really care about you. And I'm like, you cared so much about me that you typed all of that up in Microsoft Word 3 months ago. And then you added COVID top and bottom, and we're just hoping that magically it would start selling now.
Exactly.
The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. It didn't work before. It's not going to work now. And now you're going to get people like myself who don't have the time and are busy and are stressed out. And you're going to catch us on the wrong day. And your inauthentic message is not going to resonate very well.
You nailed it.
And it is so important, especially during right now. And one of the things that I've seen a lot of success with in terms of communication has been communicating the changes in the way that you're doing things. Like my pediatrics office, for example, changed to how many people are allowed in the office at one time. And people are like segmented out in the lobby. That stuff's beneficial. You're talking about how you can help, how you can bring a solution, not just how you can sell your product. You can't tell me you're going to help my company go from 0 reoccurring revenue to $1 million reoccurring revenue right now, like you told me 3 months ago, when you can't even sell your own product. Because that's not how the world works anymore. Like, we don't care. We've got more important things. And when you have people who have a literal quarantine on their hands, people are dying. New York has the #1 death count of COVID in the world.
In the world,
mind you. Like, things are not going well. Now is not the time to be a chucklehead trying to squeeze out every penny you can. Now is not the time to be selling your $500 coaching package for $750 because we'll teach you how to communicate with your customers during COVID. The only thing you're going to teach me is what not to do. I'll pay you double that to shut down your course. Like, come on. It's just ridiculous how people aren't actually trying to offer support during this time. And it is really separating the people who care from the people who can't.
Right.
And
So
I think that
that's worth adding, though. I mean, so that's from a communication standpoint. How do you talk to your customers? But on the other side of it, from a business strategy standpoint, there's going to be a lot of opportunity over the next couple of months to soak up market share. So as other companies are doing the wrong thing, you could be doing the right thing and be taking up their market share. And that's everything from acquisitions, because companies are bleeding, to to actually collecting customers that are abandoning other companies because they didn't handle it appropriately. Or, the worst thing that some companies can do right now is go dark. Because if you go dark, then there's an assumption that people think that you are a dead company or you died during this whole process. You do not want to go dark whatsoever, even if it means retransferring everything over to being a more, just social media. Or if you have to do cost reduction, do cost reduction. Maybe turn down your pay-per-click and ramp up your social media. There's other opportunities out there to market that don't necessarily require the high expense items.
Absolutely. And that is important now that you have that time on your hands to be reviewing your expenses, because we all have this tendency to just get all the softwares because they're really cool and we love to have them and they're super nifty. But when you have to pinch pennies and when your payroll is going up and your expenses are going up and everything's going up, but your cost is not, then you have a problem, and you need to look for ways to reduce that cost for sure. Now, I know you talked about a little bit on the technical perspective, shifting maybe from pay-per-click over to social media. What sort of strategies would you recommend that we really try right now? And what have you seen being successful, or what would you recommend for us to do when we are working on shifting our communication?
So, email is still a great form of communication. Social media is incredible right now. Everybody's on social because, let's face it, they're home and they don't have their boss looking over the shoulder.
Right.
So there's certainly an uptick there. And I think that's why a lot of us who are typically on social are seeing a reduction in our reach, is because there's so many more people on. However, it's still a great opportunity, especially places like LinkedIn are still a great opportunity for people who haven't necessarily leveraged it well in the past. And a lot of companies really don't leverage most social media very well. The other side of it too, I would also say that, just a phone call. Phone calls can be considered marketing, but call and have a conversation. Don't call and pitch.
Yes, do not. Don't pitch. Let them come to you. They know what you do, or they will look if they care.
Exactly.
That's right. Speaking of people who care, we're going to stop the show and say hello. I'm doing this thing now. Okay.
Okay.
Right. This time we're switching back and forth. I didn't tell you that.
Okay. It's good.
Okay.
That's yeah. I'll send the email. Yeah, whatever.
Stop
All right.
show.
So Kevin McDowell says there's an art to crisis communication, which is very, very true, and that's not something you learn overnight. And we're going to make mistakes too. If you've made mistakes, I think the first thing you need to do is acknowledge it, own it, and fix it.
Yes, that's big. Admit your freaking mistakes.
Yeah.
People look at that. They're like, if you stand up and say, we screwed up, we did this the wrong way, this is what we're doing to fix it, people are going to respect you a heck of a lot more.
That's right. Matthew says, giving now without a tangible path to ROI is what will buy loyalty and align your brand with actually caring about people, which will be the first places we support when the time comes that consumers have the means again.
Yes.
So important. That's exactly, boom. Perfect.
And actually, that reminds me, I was in a meeting today and somebody brought up the comparison of your experience. So Walt Disney World, what makes it special? They aim to be the best experience you have had in your life that you ever will have. And by doing that, they become what you compare every single one of your experiences to. Whether you're staying at a hotel, whether you're going on a resort, going on a cruise, or buying a house from a realtor, getting insurance, whatever experience you have that's the best experience you've had in your life, you are going to compare that, even unconsciously, to every experience you have from that point. So think about now as an opportunity to try to create that experience and to try to really help people out and to give selflessly. You've never had a better opportunity to really lend a helping hand. And of course, you've got to be safe while doing it. Wear your PPE gear, guys. Get a mask, wear gloves, and change your gloves Throw them away, not in the grocery cart. Listen carefully. Throw your gloves away, not in the grocery cart, not on the side of the road. Do not leave them in your car. Throw them in a trash can. Trash can.
Well
That's all I
said.
have to say with
That's
that.
just, yes. All right. I love this discussion. I want to throw one more thing in here. Kevin says he's got a couple of clients on pause due to critical revenue decreases and have written communication for pro bono and as a partner in their efforts, not a vendor. So that's what leads to long-term relationships and business sustaining referrals.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool. Yes, that's totally. I mean, don't be afraid of that. I mean, you're not devaluing yourself. This is the time where everybody needs a lot more help from us than
You're increasing your value.
Yeah.
You're showing them that you are so valuable and so critical to them that you are willing to take what you do and do it for them to help out. Not because you want a return from it, not because you want money from it, but because you can help them and because you believe in what they have to do.
That's right. This conversation's so hot, I'm going to give it to Yosemite Sam.
Ow! My biscuits are burning! Fire in the hatch!
All right, guys, let's get back to the discussion. Alex.
Yo. I can always take it from here, Lee, as long as I am not having to do your incredible historical pigeon intro, because that is just a Lee Rally speciality.
Did you guys like so Winston Cragglebottom?
Yeah, it was
how
fun.
bad is my English accent anyway?
I loved him. I would love to see you while you're doing it too, or like get some sort of subtitles or something, because like just seeing you talk about the pigeon, like introducing the lovely pigeon, maybe we could get a prop pigeon, you know, our representation of the historical pigeon that could sit on your shoulder. Let's hope it doesn't get on your shoulder. That would be bad. But
Totally cool.
Bloody brilliant.
so we're talking all about COVID, ladies and gentlemen, like everybody else in the world. But we do have to relax a little bit. We do have to stop and really reevaluate what we're doing in the day-to-day and find a way to get ourselves creative, find a way to get ourselves in the right headspace, find a way to overcome the distractions of working from home. So we want to transition maybe a little bit over to that. So Christopher, when you're going about your day-to-day, and is this the new normal for you, or were you used to working from home beforehand and this is no transition, or is this just complete shell shock?
I did work from home for a while, and then even before that, when I was with the last company I was at, I was able to work from home periodically. So I'm pretty used to the effects. I've never had to do it this long. I do like it personally. I think that there's a lot of value in the amount of time that you're able to put into something without social distractions, as they were. But on the flip side, I miss interacting with people. You know, more on the family side, I miss giving my parents hugs and, you know, seeing my grandparents, and those are challenging things to be up against. But overall, I think that it's been fairly comfortable. I mean, other than the mild cabin fever that you get when you're stuck in your house for weeks on end.
Right.
But I haven't struggled, no.
That's excellent to hear. So what are some of the things that you've done every day to make sure that you have a productive day and to get over that cabin fever as it starts to set in and only gets worse?
Thankfully, it's spring. So one of my favorite things to do as a stress reliever is to get out into the garden and start turning dirt with my hands and planting stuff and watching it grow, building things outside, you know, hardscaping, if you will. That's amazing for me, and a lot of my close friends are sick of hearing about it because it's the vitamin D kicks in and you just start talking like a crazy person about it. But I do love it. It's one of the more rewarding things in my life is to get outside and work in landscape.
So when you're working on your landscape, what's your favorite? Do you plant you'll have to forgive me here. I don't have a green thumb. I do, but it's more of a hex green thumb, so that because I'm in tech. But
hey, I get
anyways, what is your favorite thing to plant? You know, what do you really enjoy focusing on, or do you find beautiful about your garden or your landscape or what have you?
The first draw to it is the physical labor, honestly. I like getting my blood moving and getting the fresh air and like making my muscles tired, because to me that's kind of a form of meditation in an odd way. It blocks out everything else that's going on in the world, and I'm not thinking about the unfortunate things that are going on in my life. The second thing is that I enjoy watching it all grow. It's a great exercise in patience and to try and knock down that instant gratification that we're also pre-programmed to get. So those are the two big things. But as far as things that I actually enjoy planting, I focus mainly on perennials, bushes, shrubs, trees, things that come back every year so that I can make the initial investment and then it's there forever. And then this year I'm trying vegetables, so we'll see how that goes. I haven't done much gardening, but
so when you say trees, do you mean like Johnny Appleseed trees, or what does that mean?
Yeah. So we've only been in this particular house for about 2 years, and I only started landscaping last year. So everything that we're planting is pretty small right now. Yeah, of course. I mean, eventually it'd be nice if they got to Johnny Appleseed size, but right now most of them are fairly little. But it's an aesthetic thing. Again, it's a patience thing. The trees especially are a big patience thing. They don't grow super fast. So.
And is there a lot of like maintenance that you have to do around them? Like, is that something also you get to kind of get that catharsis where you just go outside and take care of all your stuff and watch it grow?
Yeah. So I do a lot of trimming. I'm a maybe an avid pruner, if you will. I don't like seeing dead leaves or anything like that attached to my plants. So I will snip and clip till the day goes dark. It's that part of it is really nice because it makes the plants actually come back stronger. So, all these things relate back to an analogy in life in some ways is, prune away the dead leaves and you're going to come back stronger. So, learn from your mistakes.
Speaking of dead leaves, prune away all the people who connect with you and send you a cold message immediately. Just drop that quick unfollow so you can stay connected with them, because they are obviously not going to add any value to you. That is it for this Alex McDowell slight tip on trimming your audience out of useless people and dead leaves. But no, I love that. And I love hearing about what people do to really get creative, because, what I've been told in the past is there was somebody who was talking with that was into marketing. And speaking of things I do to get into my right headspace, come here, little guy. My son, who I'm super proud of, and I need to take a minute to highlight, because somebody started walking yesterday and I'm terrified. Yeah. This little monster, he is 10 months old, aren't you, little pal? And he just woke up, but he just started walking, took his first steps. So good job, Mango. Proud of you, buddy. You're great. He's my favorite guest that I can have. Sorry, I just saw him and I was super excited because he's like my favorite thing in the world. But things you do to get creative, back to it. Lee, what do you do? What do you do to get into your headspace? Hey, Bub. That's okay.
Oh, wow. So music's a big thing for me. I was so heartbroken when it was like a week after this whole thing started. I just was going through the kitchen and my headphones slipped off and crashed. And for the they survived the first 7 or 8 times, but this time they didn't. And I was just like, earbuds, I mean, they kind of just sound like after that. So that's a big thing for me now that I have the noise canceling headset.
Shout out to noise cancellation.
Yeah. These are co-ins. They're like, they're like $100, but I was happy as I would be with Bose. Anyway, so that's a big thing. Setting the mood with music. I got a Rocket Book Pro recently, thanks to your recommendation. That's been a huge thing for journaling. Which, again, just dumping all of my stuff out in the morning. Because when you're here day after day after day, it kind of builds.
Can you hold this? You want to hold it?
So being able to get all that out, and then being able to get into the headspace of my customers, clients, that journaling has been a huge thing. Both journaling from my own perspective, and then flipping it over, and then when I'm working on copy, journaling from the buyer's perspective about what their problem is, so that I can get into that space.
And we are going to come back to that avatar immersion, and we will do I want to see Chris and Lee talk about avatar immersion. But one thing that Lee mentioned, which we've shouted out on the show before, is Rocketbook. Rocketbooks are incredible. This is an IoT, or excuse me, it's an Internet of Things notebook. So it's connected basically to the internet. There's an app. You can scan in your page and it'll automatically upload to your Google Drive. Or like here earlier, I was writing out, these are steps of a process. I know that all of you are super interested in that. Well, either way, there's these little logos at the bottom, which you can't see because I can't point. And
Sure.
that'll like tell it where to go. It can go to email, it can go to Slack, it can go to Discord, anywhere that a webhook is, or it can be uploaded to Google Drive, and it automatically runs OCR so that it is stored in your Google Drive with the actual text and therefore instantly searchable. So you're talking about avatar immersion for a specific client, and you can change the title of that, which you can do literally with your pen, to, you know, that client, and then you can search it in Google Drive. It's absolutely incredible. Now, Christopher, have you, being in the marketing sphere, how do you get immersed into a client's target market when it comes to manufacturing?
So we use a different term, I guess you would say, or a different name for it. I call it the perfect customer profile. And so the way that we do it is we go in and we identify previous wins for a companies that are customers that did very, very well. I'm a firm believer in the, I believe it's the Pareto principle, which is essentially 80% of your customers, or 20% of your customers make up 80% of your revenue. So essentially you want a really tight-knit crew of good customers. And so what we'll do is we'll go identify the highest performing customers, and then we start to work backwards on things like demographics and company size, company revenue, and really start to target based on that. And there's some really cool tools called SIC codes and NSC codes.
Makes numbers.
Yep. So they work really, really well to get very targeted and very specific on finding certain customers, and then you build out lists based on that. And yeah, I mean, you're going to have some dead contacts in there, but ultimately they're typically pretty strong, and they tend to have a lot of really useful information. Then from there, we build out the content and the copy to fit that messaging for that particular customer.
So for those types of customers, since it is largely B2B and I'm assuming much larger transactions, it really helps to profile them based on their industry, based on what's worked in the past, based on who they really speak to and where they've had success. Now, you hear a lot, and I know that we were even talking about before the show, the difference between targeting kind of a type of service, a group of things that you're going to do with that specialty versus targeting a specific niche. When it comes to the industrial sector, do you oftentimes see their past clients fitting into a certain type of sector niche? Do you see them fitting into a certain type of service niche? Or how are those groupings typically segmented, if you will?
It depends, because a lot of manufacturers have been around for a pretty decent amount of time. And so they've developed multiple verticals, right? So a vertical is kind of that niche within the company, but then they figure out a way to do more integration so that they can bring in other sectors and serve more people. But typically, yes, you'll see each vertical kind of fall into one of a couple categories. And then from there, you can work backwards to try and figure out, you know, are you truly hitting the market you think you're hitting, or are you just getting lucky and you're kind of close to the niche, but if you did just pivot it another couple degrees to the one side, you'd probably be a lot more successful. So that's certainly something that takes some exploration, but a lot of companies have multiple verticals.
So when you're talking about all of these strategies that you're able to use to help the industrial market, what are some tips you could give us to how to apply those into our own businesses, whether it be B2B, B2C? Yeah, that's pretty much all. I'm not even going to go into MLMs, but
yeah, I wouldn't get involved in that.
No.
I would say for most companies, you know, look at your perfect customer. I mean, it's amazing to me how many companies haven't evaluated that and haven't really sat down and drawn it up and said, you know, my perfect customer, even in the B2C sector, right? Haven't said my perfect customer is between the age of 20 and 30 years old, and they have a general revenue, you know, a yearly income of say $50,000. That's going to give you a much better idea of how to talk to that particular type of customer than if you're to just go out and say my target customer is anywhere between 18 years old and 54 years old, and they make between, you know, $30,000 and $100,000. Like, you're not talking to the same types of people if you're that broad. You're just not.
When it comes in, because you're talking about a lot of the very, very traditional marketing practices, which are incredible. They're very detailed, they're very accurate, and that's where that runs right in line with that avatar immersion, and they're kind of two sides of the same coin, right? So Lee, walk us through, and Christopher, you might have to remind me of the exact example because my short-term memory is complete trash. But so walk us through, you're talking about somebody, let's say they're crap, I don't even know, 30, 40 years old, making like 50,000 plus a year. How does that translate, Lee, into an avatar of a customer that you can target based on their pain point?
Well, it's one part of it, and the demographics is generally the first place I start when I'm building out a well-rounded avatar profile, because you do need to know how those external factors come into play. I mean, how old they are points to what responsibilities they may have. The income points to, again, what responsibilities, what resources they have available, what resources they don't have available. So all of those objective things play into a deeper story. And so for me, the avatar immersion really continues beyond that into the deeper story, where we're listening to them on social media, where we're reading their Amazon book reviews and YouTube video reviews, where we're paying attention to what they're saying to each other in Facebook groups and other, in Reddit and in a million other places where they don't really think we're listening. Then we start to pick up and round out that skeleton, those demographic factors, with a more well-rounded picture of what their life is really like and what they're really dealing with. So you ultimately get at what I call the 3 a.m. moment. What happens when you pulled out up in bed, drenched with sweat at 3 a.m. and you're like, oh crap. It's not like something complicated like, I wish I could find the resources to prioritize my paradigm or whatever. No, that's not what's going on in your little grunt 8 brain at 3 a.m. It's something a little more visceral than that. And so for me, that's what I'm always trying to get at is, using those demographics and then building out the rest of the picture to see, okay, who is this person and what's freaking them out.
And now I think one of the things that you said is probably one of the coolest things that you ever have said. Most of them are, but a lot of what sticks with me with you is just how deeply you get in and get immersed with your clients and their avatars. So when you talk about listening to someone where they don't think you are, that is the most valuable thing that you can ever do when you are targeting a specific customer, is to find out what they're saying and what they're griping about, what they're complaining about, what they're upset about, what keeps them up at 3 a.m. in a place that they feel safe, that they feel secure, and that they're not getting pitched to. You're not going to find out what's in somebody's head in the ClickFunnels official Facebook group. You're not going to get it. You're just not. But if you look at somebody's Reddit profile, for example, and you see they're posting on our relationship advice because they're too busy for their significant other being a new entrepreneur, you know what really goes on in their head when they're trying to go to sleep at night, when they're waking up in the morning and trying to roll out of bed. And those type of things are going to separate you so far from your competition. And the farther you can drill down on that perfect customer profile, like you said, Chris, it's going to make you that much more effective when it comes to selling, because when you know what's on their mind, whether we're talking in the COVID era, the pre-COVID, or the post-COVID era, you're going to be able to connect with them and you're going to be able to shape your message according to that. I mean, you can even use, and I hesitate to say it, but you really can use COVID as an opportunity, because when you know what people are going through, you can solve that problem. And if you are willing to be the best you can possibly be about it, and I mean not trying to rip people off, but trying to really give them value, and you think you can really help them, use it as an opportunity to help, use it as a platform to help, and try to make a difference in their lives, because you've got a unique opportunity here to do it.
Absolutely.
And
so one of the, just to throw something out there is another way to listen. You can actually do what we call as like the customer voice. So you actually call and do interviews. You will call customers blind. It wouldn't be from your customer. It would be either an external firm or, calling on behalf of yourself and ask them what their perception of the product that you're offering and things like that. There's a lot of ways that you can get a lot of information just by having a conversation with people too.
And that's huge too. We're all scared to pick up the phone, but I think one thing that COVID is really helping us with is how to stay communicative when you really can't go and get that face-to-face interaction. You've got to get on a phone call, you've got to get on a FaceTime, you've got to get on a Zoom or a StreamYard and go on LinkedIn Live so that you can stay connected. And that's invaluable, man. Like just giving them that phone call, not from the company, but from you, just saying, hey, I really care about the experience that you're getting and knowing what you think about the product. This is off the record. We're just going to use it to help improve what we have. Would you mind telling me your thoughts? And when you can foster and encourage those authentic connections and that communication with that customer, you're going to get to the bottom of what's keeping them up at night.
Absolutely.
And what other ways have you found, Chris, that's really good to get in tune with that customer?
Well, I mean, some of it's to get in tune with them. I would say, we're talking a lot about the high level stuff that you can do, right?
Right.
Really a lot of it has to do, at least in the sector I'm in, is how does it work, right? How does the product that I'm actually trying to market, how is the product that the company we're helping is trying to sell, how does that work for the customer? Is it working well? Because if it's working well, people are happy to tell their friends about it. But if it's not, then you may have to take another look at the operational side of it. Is there a problem with the manufacturing of the part that you're making? Is there a problem with the customer service, or is there a problem with your sales team not being able to pivot, right? Or maybe the marketing's totally wrong. I mean, there's a lot of different ways to make sure that, you're getting the best opportunity out of the messaging that you're putting out there, so long as the product is doing what you're saying it's doing. And a lot of the time, oh, good.
Oh, I was just going to say, like, that's so beneficial for everybody, not just manufacturing. So do you see a lot of times that the manufacturers are just trying to explain things too complicated, too specific to them and not specific to their customers' needs? Or where do they really trip up? Is it an operational challenge? Is it their customer service? Like, what are some of those trip points that you see that we can learn from?
Reaction time's actually a big one for a lot of, it's at least the equipment manufacturers. If you don't have somebody on site in a week, then that means that particular line that is using your machinery is down for a week, and that company that is your customer is losing a ton of money. And so, these are all things that play into how does the customer perceive your company. And that's not necessarily, and this is where marketing gets really interesting, right? Is that marketing takes a look at the whole picture. It's not just the pretty pictures or the nice words that you put out there. There's a huge in-depth view on what the company, how it operates, right? So, you've got to really immerse yourself in the culture of the company to understand, and the customer to understand how the customer perceives the company.
Now, because you brought up immersing yourself in the company, and I think that for a lot of us, especially in the B2B sector, we struggle with that. It's hard to get into a company and to really learn their culture, especially when you're not going to be interacting with everybody on a day-to-day basis. You're going to be in touch with the decision maker, whether that's the CEO, whether that's a VP, whether that's a director, and then you're going to go to those, maybe you're going to the lower level employees to be talking about them about a process that they're doing, or you're working with their marketing team to enhance their efforts, or whatever you're doing. So how do you recommend that we do get to immerse ourselves within the company of our clients in an effective and meaningful way without, elbowing our way into, to their operations?
So for me, it's a lot of pulling on the experience of the staff that knows the most about the product, right? So for instance, again, leaning back to the machinery manufacturers, if there's a technician that has worked with these machines for 15, 20 years, that's the first person you go to draw the content from, right? They're the ones that know the in-depth processes. They're the ones that know the ins and the outs, the strengths and the weaknesses. So you rely on them in a lot of ways to give you the information, to have the conversations and teach you what you need to know. And you go in with a very soft hand, obviously. You can't go in telling them this is the way it's going to be, this is what we're doing. You just have to go in asking a lot of questions and have them teach you what they know and essentially talk from their heart. Even an engineer will tell you the truth about what they believe about a product, as long as you don't, necessarily use that and you just absorb it.
And as long as they don't feel threatened by you, because when you go in trying to say, we're going to change everything, this sucks, this is dumb, you know, like they're going to catch up on those vibes and they're not going to want to tell you anything. They're not going to want to give you all this information about what's really going on because you're just going to use that against them, in essence, is how they feel. So making sure that they do feel comfortable, that they do feel confident in your ability to help them and to listen to them and make sure that their voice is heard, because everybody has a voice and it's so easy to forget that everyone has something that they would like to say and has an opinion on everything. So that's, you know, I think that's absolutely paramount. Now we are running tight on time, so we are coming up to one of my other favorite sections, which is final thoughts. And you guys know the drill. We get 30 seconds, a minute and a half, or however long we would like to say what is on our mind for the day that we would like to leave you, the audience, with. Now, Christopher, as our honored guest, you get to go first, my friend. So we will put you in this lovely single screen view, and the floor is yours.
So I would say that the final thought that I'd like to leave everybody with is just continue. If you're already being kind, continue to be kind. And if you're not being kind to people, then you really need to consider why not. And I promise you that once you start doing that, your life will improve tenfold. It's just incredible. So those are my final thoughts.
I love that. If you're not being kind, if you are kind, keep doing it. If you're not, ask why not. I'm just gonna find somebody who's not kind. Like, why? Why not? That's the ultimate question. So, Lee, honestly, I can't remember Friday who went first and who went last. You're drinking coffee, so I'll let you round us out.
You do this. We were supposed to figure out.
We're supposed to figure this out, but we don't. So sometimes we play rock, paper, scissors. Sometimes we just kind of wing it. Most times we wing it, but it's okay. So my final thoughts for today are to be a better person today than you were yesterday. Even if that means one little thing that you can do to help somebody out, one little hello you can send, hey, how's it going? How's business going? I know this is really tough on your sector. Or, you know, hey, just checking in on your friends. I know you've been quarantined and you have this house that you live alone in. You might be lonely. Would you like to have dinner over FaceTime or something like that? I mean, you have such an opportunity to communicate with people and to really show them how much that you care about them in a way that wasn't typical before, that wasn't really possible before, that wasn't really thought of before. So use everything going on as an opportunity to be a better person today than you were yesterday, and you will end up that much happier and more fulfilled in the long run, because it makes you feel good to do good. So bring good into the world, and please, please, always, always care about other people so much more than yourself. Mr. Rowley.
Well, I don't know how to follow that up. Alex, you did such a bang-up job with us. And Christopher, we were so thankful to have you on the show and finally get this all ironed out. Thanks for hanging with us through all the scheduling snafus and blah, blah, blah. I don't know how to really add anything more to that. You guys hit the nail on the head. All I can say is that, you know, this isn't going to go away anytime soon. And there's no magic button that's going to just make this better. So we're going to have to learn to change and adapt as people, as human beings, and as communities, and as humanity as a whole. It's just not going to happen like, you know, all of a sudden we wake up and then it's past and we can all go on about our lives. This is going to take years to unravel. We're going to have to be patient and empathetic and supportive.
I love it. And remember, guys, listen, these are 3 people who just told you to care about other people. Get it in your heads. And tell us tomorrow in the comments what you have done to be decent and to care during these challenging times. We look forward to seeing all of you on Bowtie Up Live. But before we go, we do have something very cool that we would like to mention about notifications and getting alerted when we go live, because we know that you might not always get those LinkedIn notifications. So what we're working on right now are text and email notifications when we go live with the LinkedIn Live link. So if you want that, Feel free to inbox Lee or myself. Drop a comment. Darn it, I pointed to Lee. Drop a comment over here. I almost went the whole show without screwing it up that much. Drop a comment over here. And we'll make sure to get you those notifications so that you never miss an episode of Bowtie Up. Lee, do you have anything to add to that? Did I cover it?
I think that's about it. We're finding more and more ways to entertain your faces off, and then all I can say is that since we're playing it out and we're doing metal today, I'm thinking some old school White Zombie is a good way to wrap up a Monday. We cool with that?
We're cool with it.
All right. So this is we got to get another banner for the post show.
Outro dance party! Ha ha!
All right.